the biggest advice I can give to like young artists is be yourself and embrace the amateurism. I think is the best you can do. And that's also why I love punk so much. Punk is like to be fearless of failing.
I'm Laura Quiñones, and you're listening to Amplify Her, a new podcast from the United Nations with support from SoundCloud. Today, we speak to LIA LIA, a Chinese-German young artist who currently lives in Berlin. Her passion for filmmaking and singing since she was little made her realize at a very young age that she wanted to be a full-time artist. She has starred in campaigns for famous designer brands such as Louis Vuitton and also opened for famous pop singer Doja Cat on the German leg of her world tour. The ideology of punk, to be fearless of failing, inspired her to launch her first EP, Love and Melancholy. She talked to us about her upbringing, how traveling alone through South America changed her life, and told us about the challenges of being biracial and a woman in the music industry.
Honestly, I cannot remember a time where I wasn't singing, performing, or like storytelling. Both of my parents are both painters, so I think I'm lucky that I grew up in a very artistic environment, also very multicultural. My father is Chinese and my mom is German, and they were still students when they got me. So my mom actually took me to her classes, to her university. I don't know how she did it. I think she was like a super mom because she took care of me and then still like graduated, painted at night. I don't know when she slept, you know. And my father had to work. With tears like me, you got a faults, it's calling out for me. Me and my father would dress up and we would sing Chinese Sichuan opera and perform it. And he would teach me all Chinese karaoke songs. And with my mom, I always sang. And then with 4, I also joined the church choir. So I can't remember a time not singing. Out of misery, cry for death, violence. I think I was then a bit rebellious, you know, and then I got into a fight with my dad, and then I was like, okay, where have I never been, and what is the most thing which would make my father the most angry, probably. And I just left to South America. I couldn't speak any Spanish. I had no idea what to expect, but I think I just wanted to see a different culture, and it was very crazy experiences. My fear is holding on and slowly killing me. I'm out of breath, I couldn't draw. Chained to my flesh, the road is long. I was backpacking in South America, so it was a very adventurous journey. Between like 15 and 17, I started traveling and I was really thinking, oh my God, what will I do? I had this little travel guitar with me. It was so small. I bought it in Bolivia. Singing always relieved my anxiety. And also, it was a great way to meet new people. I was afraid to talk to them, but I would just, sing and they would come to me. Counting shadows in the dark, the world got quieter. At some point after this journey, I realized, okay, what never has left me was singing. For me, singing was kind of like, sounds cheesy, but it feels like kind of breathing. And I was like, okay, it's something I always did, so I should use this as a base, and then I can make the covers, I can perform, I can make music videos, I can be the director, and I can perform, and I can write all the stories. So it's like, oh my God, it's perfect. It makes sense. I can do all the things I always loved to do and sing, which I always did. Suddenly I felt so blessed that I felt like, okay, that's what I gotta do. And I feel since this day, I felt like I found my purpose in life. And I felt so lucky that it happened to me like at such a young age, like as a teenager. I feel it's such a blessing to feel like you found your purpose. So basically, when I came back from South America, I made this character, Lia Lia. But when I had my first couple of tracks and I finally got like my first concert, it was in some garage. Half were like bikers and half were some art students. I put on this blonde wig and I arrived and everyone's like, oh my God, who are you? Lia Lia at first was everything I was not. She was sexy, she was bold, she was unapologetic, she was visible, and she was not compromising. She was like super self-confident, and it was everything I was not. Yeah, I put on this new wig, this new persona, and also I feel like the hair changed everything. Suddenly was super confident and sassy. I created this badass persona, and actually then I went for a couple of months to Los Angeles, and there I only wore the blonde wig, and suddenly I was that bitch who went into the club without having to stand in the line. And everyone who was still here in Germany, they were shocked. They didn't recognize me. Then I came back and I just realized that this character has like boundaries. At some point, it's like hard to expand it. And I think I also made this character because I didn't want it to be me anymore. I was so sick of being myself. I just didn't want to be me. So I made this character. I kind of became this character. And then at some point, I think it just merged in together. I dyed my hair blonde, which was like such a huge step. And then I feel everything kind of morphed together. And especially in the last year, I tried to take off all the masks, the makeup, and try to be the most vulnerable and authentic self, because I think it's very strong to make yourself vulnerable. I'm half German, half Chinese. Both countries, China and Germany, are both very homogeneous, so I never felt like fitting in anywhere really. So I moved out and started traveling from very young age, like as a teenager, because I really wanted to find the place where I belong. But I recently learned the place is not the most important thing, but the people. I think if you mixed, it's like very defining for your character, because you never really feel like you belong anywhere. Like for me personally, is like either I'm not white enough or not Asian enough, because you always just have. And you would think it's better now than it was back then. But nowadays, with all the identity politics, now I'm not Asian enough, it's like very difficult. I think it's like a main factor of doing art, actually, because since I've never found the place where I belong, I thought, okay, I have to create this universe for myself. So I have a place where I belong, and on the way, find like-minded people. The song I'm a Moth is actually like a song for like self-empowerment, to accept who you are. Like you realize, okay, maybe I'm not what everyone wants, but I'm myself, and that's cool.
Sometimes it looks like cheese, then it disappears. But it never leaves. Forever, 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 forever.
And if you're not a butterfly, be a moth and go for it. You can still be a moth rock star. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a moth. Can't anyone see what a pretty butterfly I could have been? So my EP is called Love and Melancholy. Can you imagine nobody has an EP Love and Melancholy yet? It sounds so basic and sounds like somebody already did it, but nobody did it before. I try to be the most truest, most authentic self. It's hard because I think you're always like developing. So I don't know if you have only one true self, but when I wrote it, I tried to be the most authentic I could be. I tried to rip off all the layers and characters I was hiding behind, because people know if you're hiding, and you still like put a wall behind you and the viewer. So I try to be as direct as I can and to be as vulnerable as I can. I don't really care so much about genre. I think the main thing is that my voice and the guitar, and then there's a big split. I think 3 songs are more like punk, pop rock, and the other songs are more like ballads, because I'm sad a lot. So more natural to me it's to write sad ballads. So this just happens. But then also, you know, when I have like I'm getting angry and I really want to do something badass, that's when the other punk rock songs come in, and I feel like it's both. So I'm so happy to finally release it. It was like a very long birth, so I'm feeling relieved that it's finally out. The biggest advice I can give to like young artists is be yourself and embrace the amateurism. I think is the best you can do, and that's also why I love punk so much. Basically it was just young kids who looked cool. It was connected to a lot of fashion actually, and confidence. Most of them couldn't play the guitar. In our current state, everything is so perfect. Everything is so glammed up and so shiny and glossy that punk is like to be fearless of failing, to be the greatest amateur, and to be like a magnificent failure. When you lose the thing of like having to prove yourself, I think that's when you start to become a good artist. But also I don't know yet. I'm so small. I don't want to preach to anyone. I haven't made it yet in any way, but this is just what I feel. I'm very dominating in my art, and my vision is very strong. And I feel as a man, you probably wouldn't be questioned. If you have your vision, people would just do it. As a girl, I feel I have to really make my point. You know, there's a female urge like of pleasing and like apologizing. And I think as a girl, it's harder to be unapologetic because you get questioned more. I would say I've got a lot of support from my male team as well. I feel everyone in my team is very supportive and very I'm very blessed. Like everyone is believing in my vision, but not everyone is like this. If you're a girl, they could say, okay, she's controlling, she is like maybe bitchy or something. But you know, I only work with people who appreciate it, and I also try to appreciate and respect everyone else back. Art for me is not a democracy. I would say I'm like a monarch. Monarch in my heart.
LiaLia. You can find some of her filmmaking work and some moth adventures on her TikTok account. And of course, you can head on to SoundCloud to listen to Harry P. Love and Melancholy. On the next episode of Amplify Her, we meet singer-songwriter and social media star Lynn Lapid.
Faster than a bolt of lightning, the speed of a Japanese bullet train.
Amplify Her is dedicated to women and girls everywhere, particularly to those whose dreams and aspirations are unfulfilled due to discrimination and oppression. The empowerment of women and girls is an essential part of the UN's mission. You can find out how the UN is fighting for gender equality worldwide on our website news.un.org. Amplify Her is hosted by me, Laura Quiñones, and produced by Connor Lennon. Sound design is by Garrett Crow. This episode was made possible by Jay Cohen, Alexander Bredon, Frank Jardina, Jason Gillette, Kathleen O'Malley, and Amelia Gross from Ultra Records, and of course, LiaLia. Thanks to Mita Hosali, Victor Evans Harvey, Matthew Wells, Mark Pettimesas, Fang Cheng, Gretchen Corcuera, Takako Nagumo, and Erica Mendez from UN News. And thanks to Shona Alexander, Emma Lenz, Lauren Holden, and Heather Mundinger from SoundCloud. Amplify Her is a UN News production with support from SoundCloud.